Hello lovelies, it's Christina and today I am giving you my review of Stephen King's The Bazaar of Bad Dreams. The Bazaar of Bad Dreams is Stephen King's latest release. It is a short story collection and I will go through every one of them, not into detail, but saying my star rating of them and what I thought of them if I took notes on anything particular for each short story. So let's jump into it. The introduction to this one was so amazing because it was just written for the constant Stephen King reader, which I consider myself as one of. And I love that so much. It made it really personal and wonderful and got me really hyped up to read that new wonderful short story collection. The first short story in this collection is Mile 81. I gave that a 5 out of 5 stars. I've noted that it was very classic Stephen King. It has some wonderful references to Lock and Key, Christine X-Files, Harry Potter and Doctor Who, which I really love. I love how Stephen King makes wonderful references to other authors and TV shows and movies and stuff that he loves. And sometimes he also makes fun of things he doesn't like, and I really like that too. Next up was Premium Harmony. This one I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. I wrote down that it had a very realistic look on meaningless fighting and that it was a good portray of irony of life, death, and health. Next was Batman and Robin Have an Alteraction. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. I noted down it was well written, portrayal of dementia, interesting and gripping. Then we had The Dune. This one I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. I wrote down it was exciting, another one that feels like one of the classics, short and wonderful, loved the ending. Next was Bad Little Kid. I gave that a 5 out of 5 stars, another one that felt very classic Stephen King. It was creepy and what I wrote down is King does what King does best. Reminded me of it and I loved it. Next up was A Death. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. I've written down very different writing style but interesting, dark and sad and mysterious. The Bone Church, I gave that a 2 out of 5 stars. I lost my concentration in this one and the rhythm didn't feel right for me. Then we had Morality. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars and I wrote down that it was interesting, mysterious, and the monsters within people are truly scary. Afterlife was next. I gave that a 5 out of 5 stars. I wrote that it was interesting take on life after death. Then next up was, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be You Are or You're or but one of those. But I gave that a 5 out of 5 stars. I wrote that first it felt like a weird Kindle commercial, but then it turned into something brilliant. I love the Dark Tower references. That made it truly special to me. Next up was Herman Wouk is Still Alive. I gave that a 3 out of 5 stars. I wrote that it was interesting build-up without a satisfying ending, beautifully written but didn't quite grab me except for the old couple's perspective. Then it was Under the Weather. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. Didn't see that coming from the start of it all. Interesting and very creepy in its own way. Next up was Blockade Billy. I gave that a 3 out of 5 stars. Lost me a bit with all the baseball talk because I'm Norwegian. I don't know much about baseball, so there was a lot of baseball references and game references and that didn't really catch me because I don't know anything about it. So if you love baseball, this probably will have a whole other meaning to you. But I wrote that it got better after a while. Then it was Mr. Yummy. This one I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. It was interesting take on a story revolving around death and the minds of old. Then we had Tommy. I gave that a 3 out of 5 stars. Tells a good story, but I'm not a big fan of the writing style. The Little Green God of Agony. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. It was an interesting take on pain, creepy, and heavenly disgusting. Then it was The Bus is Another World. I gave that a 5 out of 5 stars. People are truly awful. He portrays the self-centered man so well. Then we have Obits. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. Good build up, ending a bit flat, but that was the purpose. Then we had Drunken Fireworks. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. You can also find Drunken Fireworks as an audiobook on Audible, and I will link that down below. It had wonderful Dark Tower references, it had a fantastic atmosphere, and it had a great ending. Then the last short story in this collection was Summer Thunder, and I gave that a 5 out of 5 stars. Great ending to the whole collection. And I wrote, heartbreaking, heartwarming, awful, and wonderful. All my darkest fears tucked into one amazingly written story. So overall, I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. It is not my favorite Stephen King short story collection so far, but I did really enjoy most of the stories in this one as well, and I do recommend it. That being said, I don't recommend this one being the first you read if you want to get into Stephen King's short stories for the first time. Then I would probably go for Graveyard Shift, and also I would not recommend, if you're new to this, to read it from cover to cover, but rather going back and reading a short story here and there, unless you feel hooked right at the beginning, of course, then plumage through it, then you will love it. But this one, 4 out of 5 stars, very enjoyable, it was worth the wait, and I can't wait to see what comes next from Stephen King. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you in my next video soon. Bye!